Hey, good morning, everyone. My name is Alberto Rodriguez, and again, we are here with Arizona Attorneys Respond. It's a program sponsored and hosted by the State Bar of Arizona. And today we are continuing this video series with the two executive directors of one of the State Bar of Arizona and the other of the Arizona Bar Foundation. And today we'll be talking about Arizona Attorneys Respond Legal Hotline. It's a hotline that was introduced to the public, for the public, so folks could get help with their legal issues stemming from COVID-19. So I'm gonna welcome our two guests. Again, we have Joel Englund with the State Bar of Arizona and Kevin Ruegg with the Arizona Bar Foundation. So we'll go ahead and start with Joel. Joel, give us a little bit of insight on what you do at the State Bar and what the State Bar does for the public.
Well, great to be with you, Alberto, and thanks for this opportunity. Great to be, of course, with Kevin as well. And so the State Bar of Arizona basically gets its mandate from the Supreme Court of Arizona. And it exists to serve and protect the public with respect to the provision of legal services and access to justice. And so we do that through the regulation of our nearly 25,000 attorneys that practice in different categories in the state of Arizona, and also providing resources to attorneys so that they can be practicing at their best, professionally, competently, and ethically. And we focus on that. And my job as a CEO is to stay out of the way and make sure the good people on my staff can do what they need to do and have the resources to be effective in leading the organization.
Gotcha. Thanks for that. And what about you, Kevin?
Well, I am the executive director for the Arizona Bar Foundation, and many people call us, and I'm proud and honored to say that we are the sister charitable arm of the Arizona State Bar. We are a separate 501c3 organization that the State Bar established over 40 years ago. And our mission is to promote access to justice for all Arizonans. That's what we do and who we are. We have our separate board who are dedicated. The majority of them are attorneys. We also have dedicated educators so that we can assist all Arizonans in knowing, understanding, and accessing justice. My role here is pretty much as Joel said. That was a good thing to follow. That is what an ED does, is to make sure that the resources are there for the board and the staff to be able to fulfill the mission as they so well know how to do.
Great, great. And access to justice, both organizations, that's a primary focus. It's part of their mission. And access to justice, just for the folks that are watching, access to justice basically means these organizations are coming up with resources for you to get access to justice or legal help in simpler terms. So definitely two organizations that are here to help consumers get that legal help that they need, help navigate the legal system, because I know that it can be difficult for a lot of people. So thank you for that. Both organizations are wonderful. And speaking of wonderful programming, we're gonna go into the Attorneys Respond Legal Hotline. So tell me a little bit about how this program came to life. Joel, any background on how the program came to life?
Sure. As I think back, as we started to get into this pandemic, I got to give a little bit of credit to the general counsel for the governor's office, Annie Foster, who reached out and said, Joel, I need you to start thinking about how the State Bar might be able to help. And so I started to think about that. And the first thing I thought of is I'm going to call Kevin from the foundation and start a conversation and think about how we can partner, not just with each other and as the State Bar and the foundation, but pull in other organizations to help us to create some program that all Arizonans can pick up the phone and access to provide them legal assistance with pandemic-related issues that everybody is facing. And so it really starts we have a guest. It started with Kevin and I having some conversations. She quickly brought in other legal services organizations that work throughout Arizona to help those that can often not afford legal assistance. And she indicated that access to justice. And then we began to reach out to partner bars, other organizations to assist in thinking through how we could effectively provide a vehicle to help people in Arizona with some of their legal issues. And I'll let Kevin jump in to add to that.
That's great.
Yeah, as you can tell, I'm calling from, this is proof to the technology, the beauty of technology. So I'm here in Iowa being able to participate. And that's what we wanted to do with the hotline, is that wherever you are in Arizona, you're going to be able to get help, because we were so happy when Joel called, because without this state bar, we couldn't have made this happen. And the partnership and his ability, like he said, with the governor's office and the courts and all of our volunteers, it's a great partnership. And the county bars, we now have over 140 operators who are answering those phone calls.
Wow.
And we've gotten over 541 callers. So we know that it is making a big difference. And also, it's not just individuals. We were able to assist 38 small businesses answer their legal questions. So we're really pleased and happy to be a part of it, and are glad that we're still there to help.
It sounds like it's doing great. It's only been in service for about a month now. So
That's right.
You're talking about a ton of volunteers and a ton of calls just in a month. So I've had the privilege of working on the hotline and talking to these people with these legal issues. And it's really a testament to the fact that people do need legal help, specifically during this pandemic. So definitely a great program that's getting some great use by the public. And we're hoping that with this specific program here, that we encourage folks to continue calling, because it'll stick around for a bit. So Kevin, what types of legal issues are people calling about?
Well, they're all COVID related. This is a COVID legal line, but primarily right now people are worried about rental housing. They don't know what's going to happen. They so appreciate the governor's moratorium, but that's good. They're going to have to deal with their housing issues. And also unemployment benefits, that trying to understand what to do, because this has impacted the community and the economy, and it's made a lot of people lose their jobs. But the hotline will answer. There's other questions, right? Those two are the primary ones. There's questions about divorce, custody, child support, foreclosure, the small business issues that I mentioned, their finances. And access to the courts. The courts have had to make adjustments. So people are wondering about, how do I access them now? Is it open? Do I need to go, for my case? How do I fill out the forms? And then anything that is a COVID related matter, our callers, our operators are willing to assist the consumers with.
That's great. That's great. Some people wouldn't realize or think about the fact that family law issues such as divorce could spring up because of these quarantines. So, it's definitely a variety of legal issues that are sprouting up. And again, the hotline is doing a great job in being able to address that. So, Joel, is a hotline free? What's going on there? Can people?
Yeah, it's great to be able to say that, yes, it's free, right? So you call in, and the first part of that, you're going to have some operators on the line that are going to be able to point you kind of self-help in the right direction to legal information and resources to get you on the right track. And for some, that might be all they need. And then for others that are like, okay, sounds like I have an issue and I need to talk to an attorney about this issue. Then the next part is that those operators will connect that caller with an attorney, a volunteer attorney, that will give them a free 30-minute consultation on whatever issue that they're calling about. So it is free, both from the operator's guidance as well as that initial call from the attorney. That's great. And it's offered in more than one language, correct? It is. Thanks to the foundation for researching into this, and really there's a language line. So English and Spanish, but really about any language you can think of, there's a language line that is available to help so that we can answer those calls regardless of what language the caller is speaking in.
Absolutely, absolutely. So you alluded to this. How does a hotline work, Kevin? Do you know when a call? What's a caller to expect when they call?
Well, they will, they may be talking to an attorney, but on the call, they're just going to get legal information. And as Joel referenced, they can ask for, and we've had about 200 people need extended services. And so, Joel found, the State Bar found that we've now had 200 people with volunteer attorneys giving up a half hour of their expertise and their time to provide those services. For the call, though, to make sure we can keep getting calls, we just give out the legal information, and that is helping the over 500 people. Over half of those people, that's all that they needed. It's open from Monday through Friday from 9 to 3. The attorneys are there answering, and the operators are there answering the phone calls. And if it's okay, I want to give a plug and give the number. So it's 866-611-6022. That's 866-611-6022. And we really do want to encourage people, if you're out there and you're concerned about an issue because of this pandemic situation, the attorneys in Arizona, through the State Bar and this collaborative, have offered to help, and they're there for you.
That's great. That's great. And that was going to be one of my questions. Do all callers get to speak to an attorney? And I guess it just depends on the legal situation. If an operator can help address the situation by providing resources, then that's what they'll get. But if they're at their wits' end, we can make that referral to the attorneys. And I think it's really important to mention, Kevin, you alluded to this, that they're giving of their time to speak with you. And consultations can range in price depending on an attorney's experience. I mean, you're talking hundreds of dollars in some cases that these folks are getting for free from our member attorneys, correct?
That's exactly right. If it's okay, and Joel, you jump in because this is your area. But what I so admire, I'm not an attorney, what I so admire about attorneys is that they do specialize and they do have areas. So the callers are able to give legal information in all areas, but they don't. Even an attorney is not going to say, oh, I can give you personal advice in a housing area if that's not their everyday practice, if they're not prepared for it. So even though they're knowledgeable, they care enough about the individual, they want to make sure they get the advice. They're going to send them to the attorneys that have that expertise right at their fingertips, so to speak, because that's what they do daily.
Great. And Joel, how long do we expect this hotline to be in service?
When we started the hotline in our discussions, we anticipated that our goal was to have it operate for 6 months. But I will tell you, we'll continue to evaluate the need, and if it's shorter than that or greater than that, we'll probably adjust course. But our initial goal was to have it operate for a 6-month period. And I just want to back up for a minute, Alberto, and go back to something that we talked about earlier in terms of the attorneys and the volunteers giving of their time. I can't emphasize and thank them enough. Attorneys and all those volunteers, some are not attorneys as well, but all of us are impacted by the pandemic in some way, shape, or form. And attorneys and the people that are volunteering are not immune to that. They're going through challenges in their own life, and so I'm really grateful that as an organization, as a profession, that attorneys have stepped up even when they're struggling themselves and offering support to other people and being a helping profession. I think it's really I'm grateful for it, and I think it reflects well on the profession in Arizona.
Absolutely. That's definitely a great point. We're all affected by this in one way or another, and their practice could be affected just the same, and they're here helping, the rest of us. So I definitely agree. It's commendable, and we appreciate their help. That's the great thing about the collaboration that we have with the foundation as the State Bar of Arizona, bringing together people that truly care about others. And that's kind of just the bottom line. We care about other people. So speaking of caring, are there any other legal resources for folks that might have a legal issue but aren't COVID related? Joel, we'll talk, have you talk about this first. Is there anything that the State Bar offers for people that have a legal issue that's not COVID related?
So if you go to azbar.org on the State Bar website and you click on Find a Lawyer, we have an online program that essentially matches clients with attorneys. And if you have a legal issue, you would go in there, you would interface with that program, you would answer some questions and kind of put in the gist of the nature of your concern or issue. And then that goes through our system and gets promulgated out to different attorneys who are then able to respond and follow up with that potential client. And then at that point, it's a matter of the client and that attorney coming to some sort of an agreement on that representation. And so that that may be a pro bono relationship. It also may be kind of a low cost relationship. It may be a full price paid relationship. That really comes down to what that attorney and that client come up with and agree to. But it's an online tool. It's a resource. All the attorneys on there are going to be members of the State Bar of Arizona, and so you know that you're reaching out and you're getting an attorney that's qualified in the state of Arizona.
Great. And just to be clear, the Find a Lawyer platform, where members go in and input their case details, that's completely free. Once a lawyer says, "Hey, I can work on that case," then it goes into that negotiation phase with consumer and the attorney, and then those fees or whatnot are determined from there. So thank you for that, Joel.
Yeah, that's true. And the client will put in there up front sort of what they're looking at. Hey, I'm looking at a pro bono relationship. I'm looking at a low fee, or, cost is not an issue for me, or whatever the case may be. They have a drop down menu and they'll put that kind of information. So when the attorney gets that information, that's included as well. So at the beginning, there's some expectations, but as you point out, Alberto, then it's about having a conversation with the attorney and the client and them coming up to something that works for them.
Great. And that's for any practice area. So the folks that are watching, this is for any legal issue, whether you're a business, whether you're an individual, any type of legal issue, you can put it on the platform, and attorneys, if it's something they can work on, they'll definitely reach out to you, and then you guys take it from there. So thank you for that, Joel. And Kevin, any other programs that you would like to mention for people that are not being affected by COVID?
Yes, and I'm so glad that you asked, because the Bar Foundation, in support with the Arizona Supreme Court, the State Bar, our legal aid agencies in the state of Community Legal Services, DNA People Services, and Southern Arizona Lawyers Association, we have several legal help websites that you can utilize. There's the Supreme Court assists us in establishing law for veterans and law for seniors, and they have legal issues information, and you can ask questions for legal issues targeting specifically those populations. We have AZ Law Help that the State Bar and the 3 legal aid agencies and the foundation have worked on, that you can get lots of legal information in all different areas, and you can apply for free and reduced help on that site. There's also a number there that you can call to use for just any general legal help that you can see, and see what you can access if you're eligible for free or reduced services with legal assistance. Then that's azlawhelp.org. The Supreme Court also assisted us with a site that is called azcourthelp.org. You can ask, that site has a chat function, and you'll be able to ask legal information questions and talk to a law librarian, and you'll be able to find out about your court cases. Also, anything that impacts you at the court, there's help and information on. So both azlawhelp.org and azcourthelp.org have general legal information that you can get assistance on.
That's fantastic. And when we post this, we'll make sure to post all of the legal websites that you guys are offering, just to make sure that folks have access to it at the click of a button. So thank you for providing those. And coming to an end because you guys have done such a great job in really helping the public understand what the Arizona Attorneys Respond Legal Hotline is, letting them know that it's a free service, that it's for COVID-related issues, and that it'll be around as long as folks are having these legal problems. So is there anything else that you would like to add before we call it a day?
Well, I would just say a thank you to a lot of our partners. I really appreciate the Maricopa County Bar Association, the Pima County Bar Association Foundation, all of the organizations Kevin just mentioned, CLS, SALA, DNA, People Services, Arizona Legal Center, the Supreme Court, who provided key funding for this. And I would just encourage, the final thing I would just say is I would just encourage people to use that resource. It's there to help. And 866-611-6022. And I'm especially grateful for Kevin, her leadership, her organization. None of this would be possible without her leadership and the Bar Foundation. So I'm very, very grateful for the partnership that we have.
Great.
Yeah. Well, I would have to say the same back to Joel England. His and the State Bar, their leadership, they're gathering all the county bars, getting everybody in the legal aid organizations all working together has just been amazing. Working with the State Bar and with Joel is an honor. And it really, you're making an impact. I also want to say to anybody that's out there, you are not alone. All these people that we're thanking, they're there for you. And I do need to note Altigen Communications, they worked with Al Flores, our CTO, and our Chief Information Officer, and they immediately came to answer this crisis, to give us that hotline and get it together. And Chris Groninger is the lead on our foundation staff that have helped. And Alberto, you've done so much. And I'm saying these names because I want it to be real to the people who need help. And they need to understand when they are asking for help at 866-611-6022, they're helping us, because anyone who isn't getting justice impacts all of us. So you're not just helping yourself, but getting the right information that you need. No, you're helping the community. And for that, I thank all of you who are calling as well.
Excellent, excellent. What a great way to end today's Arizona Attorneys Respond video series. I do appreciate you both for your willingness to participate. And again, just to echo what Kevin said, it's really important for the public to see who leads these organizations. You guys are fully accessible to your staffs, to partner organizations. You're not just a name behind a title. You guys are truly great leaders that are making a difference for your teams and for the public. So I appreciate that. Again, thank you so much for participating, and we hope that folks will start calling 866-611-6022 to get their legal help during this pandemic. So thank you again, and look forward to chatting with you all soon.